Good evening, everyone, and welcome to International Observe the Moon Night. It's really great to have all of you out here. I want to particularly welcome all the kids in the audience, and can I get a little bit of a shout out from all the kids that we have here? I can't hear you, come on! That's better, that's better. It's great to have all of you here. Welcome to NASA Ames Research Center. My name is Greg Schmitt. I'm the Deputy Director of the NASA Lunar Science Institute, and we are sponsoring this event. I want to start off by relaying my regrets that, that Yvonne Pendleton, my boss and the director of our institute, is not able to be here tonight. She sends her regrets, but she's watching online as I'm speaking. And here to greet the audience with me is the K-10 rover that you see up front. This is by the Ames Intelligent Robotics Group. And say hi, rover. And you're going to be hearing a little bit more about this rover pretty soon in the next talk. Ames has a long history of space exploration. I'm going to be talking a little bit about that in my opening talk and give you kind of a little sampling, I guess, of some of this. I want to thank a few people who've really been so helpful in putting this together. First of all, the amateur astronomer community here. I'm a part of this, and thank you so much for providing your telescopes that we're going to be looking through a little bit later. I want to thank both Google and the SETI Institute. This is the first time that we have done something called a Google Hangout. And so welcome to all of the people that are watching online as well. I hope you enjoy it as much as everyone here. Next slide. Thanks, Ricky. This particular International Observe the Moon Night is dedicated to the memory of someone that we all know about, and one of the most famous explorers of all time, and that's Neil Armstrong, who passed away last month. And he's kind of special to everyone in the world, of course, but to us at the NASA Lunar Science Institute in particular. He was the person that deployed the very first scientific instruments on the moon, some of which actually are still being used today. So one of the things that that his family said in the brief statement that you can read here, when he passed away, they asked everyone, when you next see the moon, give it a little wink. So maybe we can just have just a brief moment of silence, and we can all take a look at the moon up there and give it a wink and think of Neil. Thank you. And Neil, wherever you are, thanks for all you did. So I'm going to start off by talking about some of the selected Ames Research Center missions and some of the rovers that NASA has done in the past and is doing in the present. We're going to have that. That's going to be followed by Jack Burns, who is one of our principal investigators, a professor at the University of Colorado, who's with us via Adobe Connect. I should mention that the NASA Lunar Science Institute is a virtual institute. We are an institute without walls, and we bring together people from our country and from the rest of the world together to tackle the very interesting problems in lunar science. After Jack's talk, we have Dr. Jen Heldman of Ames, who's going to give us an update on Mars. I think you're probably all going to be really interested to hear what's going on with Curiosity and Opportunity, which is still operational now. Brian Day is then going to be talking about our next upcoming mission from Ames. It's going to the moon, the LADEE mission. And then our own David Morrison, Dr. David Morrison, the founding director of the NASA Lunar Science Institute, is going to be talking about cosmophobia, or why we really don't have anything to worry about from the sky. Finally, Brian Day is going to give us a guided tour of the moon. So I think it should be a fun evening. So I'm going to start off with a few selections of some of the Ames missions that we've done, particularly for those here that might not know so much about the center that's right in your backyards. First of all, we actually at Ames were the first ones to go to Jupiter and Saturn via the Pioneer program. The Pioneer program also went in solar orbit and went to Venus, and the Pioneer probes, although they've now been shut down, are on the road to escaping the solar system. This was an incredibly successful program that started in the mid-1960s. Next, we have the Lunar Prospector mission that was also managed by NASA Ames, and it was in partnership with Lockheed, and it mapped some of the deposits around the moon and gave, through its neutron detector, some interesting hints of what we would later discover with the water on the moon. The next mission is LCROSS, and this mission, which I'm sure you all heard about, was a very interesting mission that targeted the Cabeus crater on the lunar poles, and it did that to hit an area that is in permanent shadow, so as to kick up potential water. And guess what? It found it, and it found lots of it. A very, very exciting mission, and the science results are still being analyzed. The next one is the Kepler mission. Kepler has now discovered 77 confirmed planets around other stars, but there are actually hundreds of candidates, and it's finding more candidates all the time. And it recently found the first planetary system around a double star, and that's something we didn't even think used to be. Our previous science didn't even think it was possible. So it's really changing things. We have the IRIS mission, and the IRIS mission is going to look at the near atmosphere of the sun. It's very important to study the sun, of course. The sun varies in its output, and we need to know a lot more about it because it affects long-range climate and many things on our own planet. The next mission, which has recently become operational, is the SOFIA mission. The SOFIA is that's the Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy, and it's based on the successful Kuiper Airborne Observatory, which was managed out of Ames back in the 1970s and 80s. It flies on a 747 and operates an infrared telescope, a large infrared telescope. The reason it's on an airplane is so that it can get above the water vapor that would contaminate our view on these wavelengths, and it sees a lot of very, very interesting things and is starting to make some interesting discoveries. The next mission is the LADEE mission. I'm not going to say anything about that. You're going to hear a lot about that from Brian Day in just a little bit. And I'd like to say just a little about now about the robotic rover exploration missions. These aren't just ones that Ames has done. These are primarily the Jet Propulsion Lab. First of all, the Sojourner, which was the small rover that many of you remember from the late 1990s, about this size, that took some chemical measurements of the Martian environment. And then the incredibly successful Spirit and Opportunity Mars exploration rovers, which were launched in 2003. They both landed in early 2004. Spirit is no longer operational, but Opportunity is, and it has been going for an incredible 8.5 years now. It's just amazing to think of a rover having been operational and contributing so much to science for that long. The next, I'm not going to say very much about this. You're going to be hearing about this from Dr. Heldman in a little bit, but how many of you were here for the celebration that we had of the landing of Curiosity? Can I get a shout out? Yeah, all right, excellent. We had 7,000 people here. Yvonne Pendleton, our director, was the MC for that event, and it was just incredibly exciting. And with all the successes that we've had with rovers on Mars, I think it's about time that we go back to the moon. And we're taking a look at some very interesting possibilities that might be enabled by some of the technologies that are being developed on the K-10 rover that's here to greet you. So with that, I'd like to show a very special video, and then I'll introduce our next speaker. So Ricky, go ahead.